Okay, here's my quick theories for Allegiant before I start reading the book. One of the theories are that all the factions are in place in Chicago because they're an experiment. I believe that they were put in there to be observed and whatnot, because I think that would be really cool and really weird, and that would make sense because after the war, something bad must have happened and they decided to just put them all in factions. They want to observe them, kind of like a college experiment. And another thing I would have to say is my theory, which I hope is not true, but it may be true, is that Tris may die, and if that happens, I'll die too. I also think Uriah is gonna die, maybe Christina. I also think that Caleb might die, but you know what, it's all up in the air right now, and I'm really scared. I hope my theories aren't true except the first one, but yeah, so those are my theories for Allegiant, and hopefully some of them are true, hopefully a lot of them are wrong, because I don't want anybody to die. Just finished Allegiant, and wow, that was tough. It's taken me at least an hour to calm down my ugly crying to actually do this video for you guys. I'm not going to say a lot just because it's my reaction after I finished the epilogue, but yeah, that was tough. It was probably one of the hardest books I've read since Clockwork Princess. Is probably the hardest book I've read ever, besides Forbidden. Yeah, I'm just kind of in shock. I don't want to believe what's happening. I don't want to believe what happened. Like, it doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem real at all, because I've been a fan of this book since Divergent was the only book out. I remember getting Insurgent in the stores the day it came out, and I remember very clearly how I went 1 day ago, to get my Allegiant book at the release party. Yeah, I wasn't expecting this at all. So I'll get back to you guys with the review later, and I hope that you guys had a happy reading time, because once you finish this book, you're going to be in a depressive state for a good week and a half. Allegiant, Allegiant, Allegiant by Veronica Roth. We've been waiting such a long time for this book, and now it's finally here, and it's killed the fandom. In a good way, of course. Well, it depends how you look at good. Guess what I finished reading? And I can't believe what happened. Damn, my theories are right. I absolutely adored Allegiant. Some people didn't like it, some people loved it. It's really up to you if you liked it. It depends on how you guys took the ending of it. Honestly, I love the ending. I think that's the only reasonable way that she could have ended this novel without it being so much like a young adult novel, because lots of young adult novels end pretty much with a happily ever after or somewhat around that, and this one definitely didn't, but it did end it in a very good way. And it might have not been a happily ever after that we were looking forward to, but it did live us off with a good ending. It may have not have been as good as we hoped, but it was pretty good. I took a daring leap with the type of writing style, and definitely a daring leap towards the end, because I've never seen a young adult author do what Veronica Roth did at the end. And I very much congratulate Veronica for taking such a big leap of faith. I'm just confused by this book. It's a beautiful book, very well written. It wasn't as good as I would have expected it to be, but that doesn't say a lot, because it's still a fantastic book, and I still love it. And I hate it at the same time. I want to throw it against a wall. So if you haven't read Allegiant yet, I very much recommend you go on and buy it very soon. If you haven't read Divergent yet, why are you watching this? But then again, go on and buy Divergent and read all the books. They're fantastic. They're amazing books. The movie's coming out March 21st of next year. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so the beginning of Allegiant definitely confused me. I had to refresh my mind. Like, I totally forgot who Kara was. And I'm like, wait, who is she? And then I figured out, oh yeah, she's Will's sister, after asking some of my friends. But then we figure out the situation again because Veronica refreshes our minds. Can I just say how much I hate Evelyn? I really hoped she died in the book, but then when I figured out she didn't, I'm like, what the heck? But then again, she kind of redeems herself at the end, so I'm like, okay, I'll give you that, Evelyn. I'll give you that. But I still wish you died. Like, literally in the first 150 pages, 2 of the characters who's been in the books for the last 3 books have died. Ready? First is Edward. We see he gets shot during this demonstration, and then you see Tori dies and she gets shot also when they're trying to escape to the fence. Like, what the heck, Tori? It's Tori, don't do that. Because I know I was expecting some deaths, but not Tori right away. I thought Tori was gonna at least get outside the fence. Like, seriously? I did not expect that, but good job, Veronica, for expecting the unexpected. So I didn't really know what to expect what was outside the fence. I actually thought the fence was a huge cylinder block wall that you cannot see out of, but I guess it was just like a chain link fence, which I was like, okay, quite odd, and nobody has ever went on outside of it, okay. But once you figure out what's outside of it, and it's actually a civilization of pretty much normal people that are living in O'Hare Airport. I live like really close to O'Hare Airport, so I'm like, oh, that's kind of awkward. It seems really normal to me, but then again, it's like a bureau of lots of just people that are technically spying on the Chicago society. It's like, what the heck? I totally expected that. I called it. I'm a winner. So once Tris, Four, and the rest of the gang go to O'Hare and they figure out what the heck's going on with the genetically damaged and genetically pure people, I'm honestly confused. I'm confused to an extent of craziness because I'm like, wait, they don't know what the United States of America is? They don't know what an airplane is? It's crazy. And you never expected that they wouldn't know that. But of course, they've been walled off into a society where they didn't learn these things. So it's totally understandable. But it's kind of crazy that they didn't know half of these things existed. Okay, I was quite confused when it came to the genetically damaged and the genetically pure because I'm like, okay, genetically damaged is technically people who have some genes in them that was not completely correct, and the genetically pure were people with balance sheets. I'm still so confused on that, and you know what, I think Veronica did a good job explaining it, but it was just really confusing because it's so much information in one book that you get overwhelmed with it. I'm more overwhelmed with this book than I was with Mockingjay, but I do still love Allegiant because of that. It kind of annoys me that they got into this huge civil war in America over genetically pure and genetically damaged people. Just medicate the people, for God's sake. Don't freaking blow up your whole community and country. It's like the Democrats and Republicans all over again. I honestly really like the dual point of views between Four and Tris, but sometimes I was kind of confused as to why Four was thinking these things because I've always viewed him as this really tough guy who doesn't say no to anything. But then when I actually see him in his head, he's actually a very vulnerable person. You know what? I love that about him because we always seen Four as this like godly persona, and then once you see him break down inside, it's really just like he's just another person. He just puts on this facade that's a very strong, big guy. I'm Four. But he really isn't. He's just a normal human being that has his flaws like just like any other person. Then there's Tris's point of view, which we have become accustomed to throughout the whole entire series, and I absolutely love Tris's point of view because she's not like any other heroine. She has her flaws, and she's not perfect, and that's what we love about her. She's very relatable too, and the way that she isn't always doing the right thing. She makes mistakes, and she has her vulnerabilities, and she shows that, and that's what makes Tris Tris, and that's what makes us love her so much. So when Four and Tris get their DNA tested and Four finds out that he's not Divergent, I'm like, what the hell? Like, what the heck just happened there? I thought Four was Divergent, but then I'm like, whatever. It doesn't make you anybody that you're not. And Four takes it so hard. He handles it like a teenage girl. He gets all pissy and so mad, and I'm like, Four, calm down. It doesn't change who you are. Like, Tris is like, Four, you're still the same person. You don't need to go and have a temper tantrum and frickin' like help those people like Nita. I frickin' hate her. Blow up the whole entire bureau. Well, not blow it up wholly, but they blow up like a certain section of it. It's stupid. Stupid, Four. Why would you do that? That just made me be like, seriously, Four, you're not cool. Not cool. I love how Veronica sort of set it up to seem like Nita may have had interest in Four, but actually the interest that Nita had in Four was just using him to help him break into the security system. And while Four does this stuff and helps them blow up a certain portion of the bureau, Uriah goes into a coma because he's standing right near the explosion. And I'm like, seriously? No! It's Uriah. You don't do that to Uriah. Uriah's already smiling, and he's always nice. What did you guys ever do to him? No, he's never done anything bad to you. So I'm kind of pissed at that point, and I was really just, like, done with it. Because I'm like, are you serious? It's Uriah. And Four is just like, oh, he feels bad, but then again, he didn't think. He was acting like a teenage girl on her period. Then what do you know, Tris and Four get into another fight, but we're already accustomed to that because they're not the perfect couple, and that's one of the things I love about Four Tris. I was really shocked by Natalie Pryor, Tris's mom's story, because honestly, I didn't know that her story could go further than her being divergent and being in Dauntless, but of course it went further because she lived in the fringe. Her mother killed her father, she wrote a diary, she came to the bureau, and then she went into the factory system. Like, what the heck? How does that happen? I never expected that from Natalie. I never expected her to be that, like, just complicated and complex. Like, even after her death, she's still living a story that has still to be told. And can we talk about something? Did Tris and Four have sex or not? Because I kind of wish they had a more explicit scene if they did, because I'm kind of confused. Yeah. Please tell me in the comments below, because I'm so confused. Because I was expecting something a little bit more in detail. Not, like, so detailed, like 50 Shades of Grey detail. But something a little bit more, like, that just represents more love. And I was like, oh, That's disappointing because I expected something more, and I was kind of disappointed in that. And I wish there was something else that was a little bit more explicit. I'm not a pervert, I swear. So the plan from now is like getting the memory serum, dosing it on the Bureau, and dosing it on the Chicago Society because they want them all to lose their memory except a few select bunch because then they can help rebuild it from there. Because honestly, this whole entire situation is messed up. But I don't like this plan because I thought that Four and Tris would go together to whatever destination they were going to. But then I figured out, of course, they're going to be going to separate locations to say goodbye. And I'm like, no, this is not going to end good. I don't want to read. But then, of course, I'm going to be like, I need to read. I have my theories that, like, Tris was going to die. Uriah's gonna die, and I didn't know that they were gonna come true. I didn't know they were gonna come true. They just seem like such lively people. They seem like people that are indestructible and you don't expect them to die, but when they do, you are just shocked. And I hope this doesn't give young adult authors ideas about killing off their main characters. I think I would have taken it harder if Tobias died, though. If Four died, I would definitely take it much harder. Just because, like, throughout the books, I feel like when Tris was connecting with him, I was connecting with him also. I bet all of us sort of felt that way, too. And it's just difficult. I can't believe Tris is gone. I can't believe she died. She's a martyr, but I still can't believe it. I'm, like, a mess. I'm sick. I'm tired, and I'm sad. Tris, Uriah, Tori, Edward. Then there's Four. In his chapters, he's going back to the Chicago Society to go and inject the people like Uriah's family with that serum that makes them not lose their memory so they can say goodbye to Uriah, who's going to be dying 2 days later. When he gets there, he goes over to Evelyn. He says, I want to save you from your memory loss, and that was sweet of him. And then Evelyn accepts that, and then she turns her back against the society that she wanted to rule once in order to be with her son. And I think that was a really strong and brave move on her part. And at least Four has his mother. Like, that was a really bittersweet moment in this book. But of course, once he finally gets back to the Bureau in O'Hare Airport, he's expecting to go see Tris. He's thinking about all these scenarios of seeing her, and then he sees Kara, and Kara's just sitting there with this just horrible expression on her face. I couldn't even imagine it. And then she's like, she didn't survive, and he just didn't believe it. And I was just like, no, let's not think about this. I don't like thinking about any of this. Then, of course, he just doesn't believe it. And then later on, he goes to see her body. And that was definitely something hard to read because he goes, sees her body. He's like, oh, she looks like she's sleeping. And then he just collapses on the floor and just cries. And it just shows his facade of being a strongly man just crumbles beneath him because the one he loves, the one person he loves more than anything on this earth, died, and I couldn't imagine the pain he was feeling. Oh my gosh, the epilogue was literally heartbreaking. I thought the Clockwork Princess epilogue was hard, which it was. It's still like the hardest epilogue I've ever read, but Allegiant's up there with it because honestly, like him going down the zip line and like spraying her ashes, facing one of his fears of heights just for her, it's just bittersweet. Like, holy crap, it's still really hard to think about. He could never love somebody as much as he loved Tris, and that's what makes it just so difficult. Somebody he loved just left so quickly, and he's only got like a few months with her. That's just really difficult. And Tris, she was only 16 years old. Just keep that in mind. She may have seemed older, but she was only 16. That's heartbreaking. Think about you dying when you're 16. Like, you don't want to because that never happens, except, of course, in Allegiant. Some of the things I wish we learned more about in this book would probably be, like, what happens in the Fringe. I want to, like, elaborate on that. I also want to know what else happened in the other societies in America. And I also really want to know what year it takes place in because we don't know that. And I don't think Veronica ever elaborated on that. And something else I really want to know is what happened to the rest of the world? What did the world think when America all went to hell? Like, would they go to hell too? Are they in, like, really bad situations also? Or else are they just turning a shoulder to us and not caring what's happening in America because we're finally getting what we deserve? Who knows? I really want to know more about that, and I wish Veronica elaborated on that. But honestly, like, I think if she elaborated on that, there would just be too much information. I would explode because it's just so many things were happening in one book. And I think that she really, like, did nicely pacing throughout it. It was still really hard to grasp, like, concepts of certain things, but after a while, you kind of gradually adjusted to that, and the book came and unraveled in an amazing sort of way. So I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Allegiant, and make sure you stay tuned for the Divergent movie, which is in theaters March 21st, 2014. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember, be mended. The fandom's here for you.